closing deals to opening minds. This is the Mr. D podcast. I'm Omar Andreasen, and we're about to get real about real estate, success, and the grit that it takes to build your best life. Let's dive on in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Mr. D podcast show. And today we have Mr. Jeff Wilcox. He's actually the founder and CEO of Cardinal Film and Photo, a Florida-based media company incorporated in July 2023. They actually provide real estate photography, aerial, drone imagery, floor plans, and virtual tour services for property marketing. His firm equips real estate professionals with high quality visual assets that elevate listings, strengthen brand presence, and improve client engagement across all platforms. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And first, I got to point off, man, I love all the pink back there behind it.
Yeah,
Listen,
thanks. Yeah.
nothing against it. Men in pink, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And my girlfriend decorated it really well. It's a shared office. Like,
She did. So she obviously knew that you were going to be on the show. So she's
mhm.
like, I got something perfect
Yeah,
for
any meeting that
all
I'm
the
in.
viewers.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now that we roasted you a little bit, let's go ahead and
Mm.
talk a little bit about the media influences and sellers' decisions. So I wanted some talking points here. What is the psychology behind visuals in a listing presentation?
The
Why
psycho
should why should it be so important to really to make sure that you have the best to be displayed instead of just using, I don't know, a camera on your phone, on your Samsung, a picture with you standing in it in the mirror with a hand around the corner with a toilet seat up
Yeah, with the trash cans in there. D-
with all the
I
trash cans in there.
the way that I constantly I talk to my girlfriend, I constantly am like, it's like some people don't even want to sell their houses sometimes. When you look at photos on Zillow, and it's the biggest investment most people are ever going to make, and they do the photos themselves, or they hire somebody who just goes in there with their cell phone. And like, the psychology is the difference between why people buy, I don't know, like luxury vehicles and all of that versus just a standard vehicle. The way that I've always described it is like on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever. If you just take a quick picture of the product on the carpet on the ground versus if you were to like put it on a white background with some nice lighting and like really present it, that's the difference. It's not really that different of a concept. If you're selling your house, you're selling it online just like you would be selling, I don't know, a guitar or a camera on Marketplace. You want to present it as best as possible so that way people see it in its best light.
And I don't know, maybe sometimes it's whether some of these agents want to, let me back up a little bit. Sometimes I'll sit there and I'll see like a listing for 600, 800, $1 million. And then I'm sitting there, wow, okay, you really took that with your phone, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. You're about to make anywhere between 20 to maybe 50, $60,000, and you can't afford to pay a photographer maybe 800 to about 1,500 bucks just to make sure that your client's house really shines and gives it the
Yeah.
best approach possible. And I wonder sometimes if it's the problem with the agent that just they can't demonstrate the value through high-end marketing assets. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think yes. I think it's also short-sightedness in a lot of ways because it seems like a lot of agents get stuck in this not a paycheck to paycheck cycle, but it's almost like a listing to listing cycle where they're
Mm.
like, oh, I didn't make enough off the last one to market this one. And then they don't market that one well. And then they don't market the next one and so on and so forth. Where if you really were to think forward, I have a lot of clients, I think you're one of them included, who get listings based on the content from their past listings. I get messages all the time that are like, your video helped me get a new client. The video we did at my last listing helped me get this next listing that you're going to shoot as well, and that's going to compound. So the short-sightedness is they get stuck in this idea that we're just trying to sell this house and I'm going to do it as cheap as possible so I can make as much commission as possible. But if you really look at it like a long game, and I don't really think anybody's in real estate for, they're just trying to do it for 1 year. Like you're going to be in it for a while. Ideally, like you want to be in it
Ideally.
for a while. You want to build that base. So it's the brand and the marketing that all comes into it, but people just get stuck.
They do. And you know what? You said something there that was very important. You said something like, okay, if somebody has several listings, and listen, at the end of the day, listings cost money because you have to spend money on marketing dollars, etc. So let's say all of a sudden you have five listings and none of them have closed yet. Then all of a sudden you start being cheap, and you know what? Or maybe not cheap. Let's call it frugal. You
Yeah.
decide, you know what? I'm going to be frugal, and I can't really afford to pay a photographer right now because I spent so much money on marketing. And that's actually one of the things that came up that we're coaching our own team on, because a lot of them have done that. And I'll sit there and I'll tell them, I say, listen, how much are you charging the client? I'm charging him 2%. Okay. Then if you're charging them 2%, you understand, not only do you need to understand this, but they need to understand that there's a cost to every business. And I'm sure the client knows on the other side. But have you walked them through that? Meaning, listen, if you want me to charge you 2%, that's not an issue. I'll charge you 2%. But at 2%, I can only then my marketing is 12% of that cost. And then this is what we're going to do for that marketing. So at 2%, Mr. Seller, you can see that we can only spend $1,000 on marketing. But if you upped it to 2.5 or 3% or 2.75%, then now our marketing dollars have moved up because now I expect to get more at closing. Because just if you're going to make six, eight, $10,000, that doesn't mean you're going to spend. You shouldn't be spending
Yeah.
half of that to for marketing, because obviously you have costs that go into your business. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why some of these agents either one get out of the business, or two just start cutting corners, and then of course giving us bad names because they don't understand the business side of it, of what you should really be presenting to that seller and telling them, listen, that's fine. You want me to charge you 2%? Not a worries. But
Mm.
I can only spend marketing here, and this is what that package looks like.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that I end up having to explain that a lot to agents, which you would think it would be like all they need to do is contact me to get the stuff they already need and they know that they need. But a lot of times agents don't know what they don't know. And so they can't communicate that properly to their sellers if, like I said, they don't know what they don't know. So if they don't know that a Zillow 3D virtual tour is going to boost their listing and get them more views, then they can't pitch that to the client, to their
Mm.
client. In my brain, photos, professional photos are a bare minimum. And that's probably, I think, where the conversation is generally right now. But I think for a lot of people, even just doing that is going to elevate your listings to the next level because marketing with cell phone photos is just like on a different level than professionally edited photos. So I think of that as a bare minimum. But on top of that, video, 3D tours, drone photos, floor plans, they all add to the experience. Right now, I've never bought a house, but we're looking at rentals. And as I go through with my eyes, like my professional photographer eyes, I'm like, dude, I can't get a feel for these places without a floor plan minimum. And a lot of people aren't making money on rentals, so they're not going to put the effort in, and that's fair. But on selling a house, you're going to make a pretty decent amount of money if you market it correctly. So you would think bare minimum, I want to have professional photos and I want to have a floor plan. But if you could also walk around the house virtually, if you could also see a video of the house and the details in the fixtures and all of that, then I think it's going it's just going to market way better that way. And something else that just like a kind of semi-related thought, sellers aren't moving nowhere. Like they have to go buy a house as well. So you would think the way that they're looking at houses, they would think that's how I should market my house because they're looking on Zillow, they're looking on Realtor.com, and they're probably seeing bad photos, no floor plans, and they're probably wanting those things. So it's shouldn't you provide that for other people trying to look at your house? That's how I always thought about it.
Now that, yeah, no, that definitely all makes sense. So listen, what you mentioned video. Why do you think video is so essential in 2026, even for non-luxury listings, in your opinion?
Dude, people are watching this on their phones. Maybe somebody's watching it on a TV or whatever, but somebody's watching it. If not, if nothing else, they're listening to it in their car. People are on their phones constantly. There's screen time is gone up and people are scrolling. I get you could go on Zillow and you can look at photos, but if you see an ad or just you follow a realtor and you see a video of a house, I feel like there's a different connection there. But also knowing that your agent is going to go out and put in the effort to market your house and put that on video is going to make you feel more confident about, or if they've done it for other people, they're going to do it for you. And video just converts.
Mm.
It's a little bit, like I said, if I'm speaking directly to agents, it's a little bit of a longer game. It's not a, you make a video, you get a sale immediately. But like I've said earlier, people get bookings or they get listings based on their videos, where it helps build your brand. People associate you with high quality work. And then you don't have to just post just listed graphics and open house graphics. You can have actual content that's engaging and people will watch and comment on and engage with. And you can use those videos on your stories and you can repost them. It's just so much more versatile and it's a brand builder.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all that. It's we had a sales meeting on Tuesday, and one of the comments were, I'm a real estate agent. A content, I'm not a
Mm,
content provider. And I said, here's the thing. You are correct. You are a real estate agent. But just like a professional athlete doesn't want to be a role model, there's things that come with it, whether you like it or not. Right. And unfortunately, if you want to be in the real estate game and sell luxury real estate, whether it's commercial, single family homes, developments, unfortunately, you're going to have to be a content creator at the same time. You're going to have to, whether you like it or not, and take it from somebody who definitely has been forced the hand to do it. And it's unfortunately, it's part of the business. And if it's
yeah.
something that, if you're a real estate agent listening to this right now, and you're like, you know what, I understand it's part of the business, but I don't want to do it, then you need to think of maybe other ways to try to do it because you have to provide value somehow. It definitely helps with marketing and it's free. Or maybe you just switch over to timeshare and sell timeshares instead, where you don't have to worry about marketing any kind of properties anymore. So I think when it comes to video, it is so important when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to Instagram, when it comes to Facebook and TikTok, all those are so important. And you just have to decide which one it is that you're going to be using, whether it's two, three, four, or all of them. I mostly only use three, but you need to understand that even Facebook is an audience, Instagram is a different audience, and so is YouTube. So you should really be using all three because all three are going to put eyes in completely different audiences.
Yeah. Gary V has said, honestly, since it seems like forever, that we live in an attention economy. And the thing that is converting is attention. And you can not make content, and that's fine. But the way to get leads is to get attention, and doing that video is just the easiest way. And I should mention that whenever, like you and I were talking about video, that's you on the video, not just of the houses. And that's a whole different topic because that's, I hear that a lot where they say, "Oh, I'm not an influencer, I'm not a content creator," which is that's a whole other conversation. But what I also hear is I want to show the house and I don't want to show myself and I don't want to make it about me. And that's totally, I think that's totally valid. There are a lot of people who it seems like they use this profession as just an excuse to be an influencer. I think that there is a marked difference between somebody who puts themselves on camera for the sake of being on camera and somebody who uses that to elevate their existing listings. The way that Omar does his stuff, and I'm talking, I guess, to everybody else, but this is a conversation. So the way that you do your stuff is, I think you're presenting the homes in a very professional and calculated way. It's not just, hey, look at me in the house. It's look at the house that I'm showing you is the biggest difference. Going back to the influencer comment though, or the way that people see that, I do think there is some truth in that. As you're saying, it's just like part of it. Whenever I started this business, I thought it was going to be taking pictures of houses, and it is, but I'm also, it's like it's knowing the type of business that you're in, and this is a customer service business. And it seems like being a real estate agent is like you are selling houses, but also you're building relationships, and you're almost like a full-time relationship manager, where walking with you downtown in Celebration, and you like five people were like, "Oh, what's up, Omar?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I worked with them a couple years ago. I sold their house and I'm just a regular at their restaurant. They know me." That's the job. And so putting yourself on video is showing people that you're somebody who is trustworthy and you're a real person, you're authentic, and that's how they'll begin to know you and then they can like you and then they can trust you.
No, yeah, what those are, it's you ticked every single box, or that's very true.
Yeah.
Very true. So let me ask you, what separates your true media partner from just a photographer?
Oh, the trust that you and I have, the feeling of confidence that we both have walking into a listing, knowing that we've done it so many times and we know how it's going to go, I think is pretty unparalleled. I have a few clients that are, I guess loyal is the best word for it. And it's just, I'm loyal to them, they're loyal to me, and we both show up. I'm a part of their team. So whenever you get to a listing, you would say, "Hey, my photographer is going to show up soon. He'll be here." And then we'll start. And then we know how we like to keep things. And we go through the house and we put down the toilet seats and we move shampoo bottles and all of that. I do that in general by default, but not everybody like gets it. And so when you and I get to a listing and you're able to talk to the homeowners and know that I'm doing what you would do as well. I'm working on behalf of you as your partner. And then when we do videos, it's like riding a bike because we've done it so many times. You and I, we just get into the groove. Not to say that you couldn't probably go work with somebody else, and because you have that skill of being on camera, it's not to say that you couldn't just do it, but there's an unspoken like back and forth that happens. I've been a photographer for about 10 years now, and I've noticed this. The more that I work with, if I'm doing portraits, the more that I worked with a model, the more we would just understand each other. So I wouldn't even have to say, "Hey, move your chin down a little bit or relax your face." It was just unspoken. And the same thing with me directing you on video. I don't really have to do much, and I don't think you have to correct yourself very much just because we know what we're looking for.
No, that's true. And one of the things that I like working with you is you're anal just like I am. You want everything perfect. It's attention to detail.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things because I can't tell you how many times when I'm looking at listings and I'm like, oh, there's that toilet seat up again. I'm like, that really bothers me. So obviously, maybe they don't have a woman that lives with them because I live with three women and I get yelled at you know what? I don't get yelled at anymore because now I got promoted to have my own bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I got that. That is my
To
promotion.
be
So
fair, you should put the seat down, put the lid down anyway. That's how I always thought about it. We have cats, so they'll jump in, but also put the lid down anyway because that one Mythbusters episode where they like flushed it with the lid up and it got like particles all over the toothbrushes. Since then, I've put the lid down every single time. I just think it looks better. It's a better presentation. But the attention to detail, yes. But I think I always think about the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you're willing to leave a trash can in a photo, you're willing to leave the toilet seat up. You're willing to take photos with your cell phone because you don't want to pay for a photographer and build a relationship with a vendor. What else, what other corners are you cutting when you're selling a house? That's how, that's like almost my best pitch for photography or professional photography. If you're going to do it with that, if you're going to cut those corners, how do they know you're not going to cut corners in another way?
no, it's very true. Very true. Talking about cutting corners. Now, how can agents elevate everyday listings without a luxury budget per se? What would be your opinion on that?
I definitely think luxury budget is it's an esoteric term. Like, what does that really mean? You know what I mean? A lot of people hear the word luxury and they think over multiple millions. Some people hear that and they think, oh, it's just anywhere in a nice neighborhood. In general, I think having a budget is a good idea. I think a lot of people just don't even have that. So just setting aside some money is a good idea. But elevating the listings, there's so many little ways to do that. And you can talk to whoever, like you don't have to work with me. Whoever you work with, media provider should be able to do these little things that will add. So first of all, the free thing would be if you're already on site, attention to detail, having them close the toilet seats and all of that, making it look as close to a model home as possible is usually the way that I describe it. So whenever I'm I get to a listing and everybody's, okay, what do we do? I'm like, all right, first of all, we're going to move the cars out of the driveway. We're going to move the trash cans to the side of the house so they're not in the front. We're going to move those toilet seats. We're going to move the shampoo bottles, all of that. But any of the decorations, those can stay. We want to make it look nice. When it comes to actual products, I think photos minimum. And if that's all you can afford, then make that be it. That's going to elevate it enough. There's a thing called a virtual twilight, or people call them digital twilights, where it will take a photo that I've taken during the day and it will turn it into to make it look like it was taken at sunset. I charge $30 for those. If you can't afford $30 for a little bit of elevation, something like that, something as small as that is going to stop the scroll a little bit on Zillow. Speaking of Zillow, the next thing that I probably the most am most like passionate about lately are these Zillow virtual tours. I charge about 150 to $175 for those, and they make an impact. I don't know how to explain it better than that. There's actual data on it, and like they get more sales, they get more clicks and all of that, and you can find that all on Zillow's website. But essentially what they are is they you can walk through the house virtually. So I have a camera, it's a 360 camera where it has two lenses on one lens on each side, and it will take a picture of the entire room, floor and ceiling and all of that. And they all connect with arrows. So people can go from the foyer to the living room to the kitchen and all that. When it comes to elevation, I think that's huge. And then it just keeps going up from there. I think video is for some agents, I think video is a must. It seems weird at this point to go to a listing for you and not do video because you've built your brand so much about around it. It feels weird whenever you don't have one, and some people are like that. But I just think it elevates so much, not only the listing, but the agent as well.
No, I definitely agree with all those points. So very good points. They're valid, 100%. Now, I want to dive into something. So, how should agents present media during a listing appointment? Because you touched on that a little bit,
Yeah,
but I want to dive a little bit further into that.
that's a great question. Okay, yeah. So that's something that I don't think a lot of Oh, obviously, I'm not in the listing appointments, so I don't know. I've heard secondhand from people that they're like, "Oh, I showed your video to a listing appointment and that blew them away, so now we got to do one for theirs." But actually having so every listing that I do a marketing kit, and that's provided with every listing. But you can use Canva, you can use Photoshop if you're good at it, and just put together a flyer or some kind of almost like a portfolio and use the photos that you've done on previous listings and put those together and say, here, this is what we're going to do for yours if you work with me. And you'll get the virtual twilights and having a standard to say, okay, you can work with somebody else and they'll charge 1% or whatever. You don't know what you're going to get. With me, here's the minimum that you'll get. It's photos that look like this, and it's a virtual twilight, and pull up a Zillow tour on your phone. Here's what those look like. Or if you've done enough video or whatever, then you can say, here's my Instagram. You know what I mean? Look 3 months back. You can go from now to 3 months and you'll see all the different videos I've done. Or if it's lucky, then they'll have come to you from that and you won't even have to show them that. So just, it's honestly just like presenting a portfolio is the best way that I would describe it. And to say, again, say, my photographer will be here. I think that's huge. And I think it's really impressive to them as well to know that you have your stuff figured out to say that yeah, I have a team that I work with. They're on my team. I've joked with you before that I'm like, you got to get me in an Andreasen group hat so I can wear it at shoots to say I'm on your team. I'm here. Like obviously my business is Cardinal Film and Photo, but I'm also a part of your team. So saying all of that together, it's really hard to say no to.
Yeah, which we actually have a hat for you as well, just to let you know.
Sweet.
So
Okay,
I'm glad
cool.
you brought that up. All right, two more questions. What red flag should agents avoid? And I'm talking about like when it comes to choosing the right real estate media partner, what red flags should agents avoid, in your opinion?
Okay, red flags. Biggest one is going to be, I think, communication. And just in general with really any vendor. And the way that I think about this is, like I said earlier, my business is a customer service business. And if somebody doesn't know what business they're in, it's going to be really difficult to work with them because if they think that they're a photographer, then they're not going to text you back when you need it. They're not going to be available when you need them. They're not going to prioritize their business, which is going to affect your business. Like full transparency, I need to hire more photographer, like a photographer, you know what I mean? That's something that I need to work on because I need to elevate my own business. And so that's something that I'm aware of and I'm working on. But a lot of people just think of themselves as real estate photographers. They might be a little bit lower priced, but it's not, I hate to say you get what you pay for, but it is one of those situations where if you want somebody who's more artistic, that's awesome. You might take 2 weeks for them to get on their schedule. You know what I mean? Like having somebody who puts their business first and is able to think in that way is going to benefit you. They don't have to have a website, but having a nice website, having a Instagram with a portfolio of some kind. If you send them a message and they reply, I think an online booking portal is really a great green flag as well. I think a red flag is, this is just my opinion. If I'm looking at like my competition or whatever, and they say, "Oh, text me to book," I'm like, "What? That's crazy." Having an online booking portal where the agent can go at the time that they want to, and they can say, "All right, this is the packages he offers or she, and these are the times they're available." This is linked to their calendar, so I can see they're available Thursday at 9 a.m. or whatever. Basically, red flags, anything that causes friction in the process of a real estate agent's life is a red flag to me.
Love that. Love that. All right, last question. You ready? It's
Mhm.
going to be a doozy. You
Okay,
ready?
I think
All right,
so.
you ready?
Yeah,
All
oh,
right.
maybe.
All right, don't worry.
I
It
don't know
it,
if
it
I am
won't throw off
anymore.
all the pink in the back, but
Okay.
all right. So if you could just leave one deed behind, one action, mindset, or even a lesson for anybody listening today. All right, whether they're a real estate professional, an entrepreneur, and someone as a business owner as yourself, what would that
Mhm.
be?
It changes day to day what my answer would be. I think my answer right now is it's 2 words, which I guess is technically two answers, but consistency and persistence. I think those are the keys to any endeavor, and specifically with being a business owner, those have proven to be they come back the most whenever it comes. Like you listen to an audiobook about business, and I could have just heard the word consistency and that would have answered it. Persistence, slightly different, where it's like persistence is just doing it over and over and over again, and it's over a long amount of time. And the consistency is doing it no matter what on a consistent basis, like on a regular schedule. The thing I've learned this year is that consistent can look different. It doesn't have to be a daily action. It can be a weekly action. It can be a monthly action, a yearly thing. I'm still a little bit of a baby when it comes to the business world. I'm only like 2 years into this, but I'm already learning what I did last year, I can do again this year, and I can be consistent with that. I'm learning that with getting back in the gym. The consistency is November was a little bit slower, Thanksgiving and whatever, but persistence means I get back in the gym in December and I keep it going. So, long-winded answer, the longer you stay in the game, the more chances you have to win.
That was a good answer, though. That was a good
Thanks.
answer. You defined it very well. No, awesome. Guys, listen, first, Jeff, thank you so much for spending most of your time on here,
Yeah,
taking a
man.
little bit off and just spending some time with us and really teaching us a lot about photography and why it's important now to really be not number one, to make sure that you have someone such as yourself. And I love how you said, my photographer to have on the team, but then to just to spend a little bit of extra money just to make sure that listing really pops out. Guys, we are going to have all of Jeff's contact details right below. So if you want to reach out to him to maybe schedule what real estate shoots, I guess you do
Yeah.
modeling shoots and I guess any
No, no,
kind of
no, just listing photography. That's the old me. I do just listing photography and videography and anything for a listing, I'm your guy.
All right. Sorry, models. We can't get you in there today. Maybe next time. Hey, guys, I just wanted to thank you so much for listening to the Mr. D podcast show. Please remember actions build empire. Stay focused, stay hungry, and sometimes you just got to give life a little bit of whammo. I'm Omar Andreasen. Thank you again for tuning in to the Mr. D's podcast show. Have a blessed one.
This is Omar Andreasen signing off and reminding you that success in real estate and in life is built one deed at a time. Until next time, keep it real, stay sharp, and don't forget to give life a big whammo and keep moving forward.